Okay, hi, I'm Natalie Owens, and I just would like to share my faith story. I have a lot to say about leaving the Catholic Church and coming back to the Catholic Church and just all the events that have led up to it. And I guess I'll start with my childhood, and I am a cradle Catholic. I was raised Catholic. My parents sent me to Catholic grade school, Catholic high school. Both my parents are non-practicing Catholics, and so I really didn't have that reinforcement growing up of the Catholic faith, and I really had to sit in prayer with the reasons why I left the Catholic Church in order to come back. You know, I had to work through those issues that I had. I didn't have a great experience with Catholic school, especially the grade school. I had a really stressful home life, really negative home life, and I just felt like Catholic school just added to that stress in my life. And that was one reason I saw a lot of hypocrisy growing up in the Catholic Church, and I think it was just tunnel vision of, I just saw people making bad choices even though they were going to Mass every Sunday, and I was angry about that. And I just didn't have a relationship with God growing up. And, you know, I tried to pray, and I just felt like when I tried, something was blocking it. I felt so distant. I couldn't connect with God. And by the time I reached high school, though I had a better experience in Catholic high school, I just was pretty much checked out. So I just was really, I think, became closed off and really hard. My heart was just very hard. And also in high school was when the sex abuse scandals came out with the priests, and there was a beloved priest in my grade school parish that went to prison, and I just remember feeling so angry and betrayed, and I think that was the last straw for me, and so I left the church, and I left really disgusted and angry, and I was like, I'm leaving. This is what religion is all about. I don't want anything to do with it, and I left, and I said I was not going to come back. So after high school, you know, in my 20s, I married my high school sweetheart. I have 2 beautiful kids, and I had a wonderful life and such a blessed life. And all my 20s, though, I lived according to my own rules, my way, my will. I think that was another piece of it. I didn't want God's rules. I wanted my own rules, and that's pretty much how I lived for a really long time, really up until a few years ago, to be honest. And I just remember in my 20s just having this like inner turmoil. I just felt I had happiness, but it was never lasting. And I just remember thinking to myself, why am I like this? I have a wonderful marriage. I have 2 beautiful kids. I have a comfortable life. Everything I need, everything I want, I have. Why don't I have this deep lasting happiness? You know, like I had a lot of negative thoughts and emotions all the time, and I had a lot of anger in me, and just this inner turmoil that I could not figure out why. And that was in my whole 20s. I just was a really angry person. And then when I hit 30, so let's see, my son was a toddler, my daughter was a baby, and my mom started to encourage me to teach my kids about God. And she says, I really want your kids to know about God. And that was not even a thought in my head to teach them, you know. And I just remember thinking, how can I do that when I don't have a relationship with him? I don't know him. And she also encouraged me to find a church, whatever that may be. Didn't have to be the Catholic Church, could be any church, but she just kept encouraging me. And I had this little kernel of desire for that, but it was small enough at that time to where I just kind of pushed it aside and just ignored it. And I just kept thinking to myself, how can I even teach my kids about God, or how can I talk about God, you know? And so that was kind of in my thoughts for like a good year. And then when our son turned 3, we moved up here to the Northland. So we were south of the river at the time. We moved up here in 2014. And that desire to find a church, to teach my kids about God, and to really seek God myself started to grow. Enough to where I was like, okay, I want to find a church, but I just can't go back to the Catholic Church. I don't want that. And I just happened to be talking to a neighbor one day in the front lawn, and we started talking about faith for some reason. It was just a random conversation. I don't even know how it came up. And she was also Catholic, had left the church. And she said, there is a church right down the street from us called North Heartland Community Church. And she goes, I tried it out a couple times. My kids loved it. She goes, why don't you come with us and, see what it's all about? And it was non-denominational. It is non-denominational. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I had never experienced a church outside of the Catholic Church. So, but I was willing to give it a try. I was like, sure, let's do it. And so I went, and I remember that first Sunday that I went, I just walked through those doors, and I just had this overwhelming feeling. I was like, I am supposed to be here. I don't know why, but I was like, I am supposed to be here. And I loved the service. I loved the people were so warm and welcoming, and I felt loved as soon as I entered. And the kids program was great, and I loved the music and just the message of the preacher. And the mission of that church is to help seekers and skeptics find Jesus, and that's their whole mission. And they try and do it in a non-threatening way. And I loved it so much, I spent 7 years there. And I was a regular volunteer, and I got really close with some of the staff, and I made great friends and just met awesome people there. And I just was happy, and I had such a zeal for their mission of just seekers and skeptics to come in and find Jesus. I had a point of conversion when I was in that church. So it was year 6, and throughout the whole 7 years, I was developing this relationship with Jesus and really softening my heart. I mean, it took a long time because I was very hard-hearted and just closed off, and just little by little, just opening myself up. And year 6 was the start of this conversion that I had. And they do adult baptisms there. They don't baptize infants or children. And when they were doing adult baptisms, a couple times I felt this desire to, I want to do that. I want to get baptized, because the pastor was really encouraging people, you're an adult and you make your own decision and you allow Christ into your heart, and, you say yes. And I wrestled with that because I believed in my Catholic baptism. It wasn't a belief thing. And I wrestled no, I'm already baptized. I don't need to do it again. But I just felt this desire to just want to go up there and do it. And finally, one Sunday, it was in October of 2021, and they were doing an adult baptism, and I made a last minute decision. I was like, okay, God. I was like, I'm going to do this because I'm going to show you I want to be a follower. I don't want to just sit and believe. I want to put action into my faith, and I want to surrender, and it was just a last minute thing, and I did it, and I said, okay, God, here it is. I'm doing it publicly. This is my big public surrender in front of everyone, and I'm so introverted, that scared me to death. And I did. I got dunked, and that was the start of this conversion or reversion that I had, and it was just amazing. My life changed after that.